Hello everyone, this is just a short introduction to let you know that this is our spoiler-free, then spoiler-heavy review of the Suicide Squad 2021 from our podcast, The Weekly Planet, which we do every Monday. Normally at this time there would be a Caravan of Garbage video, but we are taking a 2-week break, so that's this week and next week. So I thought, hey, why not put together something minimal effort, minimal visuals. This is more of a listening experience for people who might not have heard it. There's some other Suicide Squad videos on this channel that you might be interested in, including some stuff later in the week. And also our review of the first What If episode, Marvel's What If, is going up tomorrow. Yeah, leave a like if you want, that'd be great. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the rest of this video. I'm also in it with Mason. Two of us. Makes for a better conversation, I feel. All right, Mason.
Go on.
I love talking about the Suicide Squad.
Me too.
But there's a topic I just want to cover just before.
Okay.
And this is James Gunn's response to Martin Scorsese saying that comic book movies are crap and everybody who likes them should kill themselves.
He did say that.
His
yeah.
words.
Yeah.
This is in an interview with MTV Josh Horowitz.
Is that his name? Hey, it's me, MTV Josh Horowitz.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
I don't know what to tell you.
That's great. No, I love it.
I just think it seems awful cynical that he would keep coming out against Marvel, and then that is the only thing that would get press for his movie. He's creating his movie in the shadow of Marvel films, and so he uses that to get attention for something he wasn't getting as much attention as he wanted for it. He's one of the greatest filmmakers who ever existed. I love his movies. I can watch his movies with no problem. And he said a lot of things I agree with.
I don't even need help. I don't even need somebody there explaining his movies to me.
I get it.
I get it.
First watch as well, I get it.
That's right.
Straight out of the gate.
Yeah, that's right.
There are a lot of things that
This one's about an Irish guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. There are a lot of things that are true about what he said. There are a lot of heartless, soulless spectacle films out there that don't reflect what should be happening. I can't tell you the amount of times I've talked to a film director before they went and made a big movie and said, hey, we're in this together. Let's do something different from these big movies. Let's make something different than everything that's come before. And then
I get movies. I get them first time.
Yeah.
Collaborate with me.
I watch a movie and I go, oh, man, yes. Beginning, middle, end.
You and I can make a movie that people will get first time.
And then see them cater to every single studio whim and be grossed out, frankly. So 2 things going on there. One, that he says that he's using Marvel films to promote his own films, and 2, that he agrees with some of it, and people go into movies with the best intentions and then get broken by the studio.
Well, I think people should only report the first thing that he said.
I agree.
And make it seem like he's being really mean to Martin Scorsese for no reason.
Let's edit this bit out and keep it just for me and you.
Yeah, nice.
And my son. I'll play it to him.
Yeah, great.
Anyway, let's talk box office for the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
It cost $185 million.
Decent, a chunk of change.
They were hoping it would make $30 million at the box office this weekend, but it looks like it's only going to make about $25.7 million. At this point, we don't know the HBO. Anyways, I saw this interesting article about why this movie might not be doing so well. This is via Scott Mendelson on Forbes, and the headline is Box Office, Suicide Squad 2 gets Tomb Raider trapped with poor $12.2 million Friday.
What does that mean? I saw that headline and I'm like...
I'm here to tell you.
It's going to explain it? If I were to read it, it would explain it to me, is what you're saying.
You know, James Gunn would get it first go, is all I'm saying. But anyway.
He's seen a lot of movies, though.
Yeah, as I can tell. But he can tell us that too. Regular readers can probably tell you much about the Tomb Raider trap, namely when a much-hyped and anticipated flick becomes a huge hit despite being bad to terrible, only for the much superior sequel to suffer commercially because the audience decided once bitten, twice shy. Classic examples include Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life. That's a bad movie, though, isn't it?
It's inherently quite bad, yeah. They're both bad. They're both bad.
Have made $156 million off the back of the $274 million of the first. Addams Family Values, $48 million off $191 on the first. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows made $245 million off the $485 million of the first. And the Angry Birds 2 movie, which made $147 off the $352 million. I have seen Angry Birds 2. He said, heck, I'd argue that a big reason why Man of Steel 2 turned into Batman v Superman was to avoid the Tomb Raider trap. So I thought that was really interesting. That I think it's very much pandemic related as well.
Yeah, and also I don't necessarily think it's just a sequel thing. I think it's probably it's a diminishing returns for probably, like, you know, I think the DC cinematic universe has definitely had its ups and downs. Sure. But I think, you know, the overall, the general public's overall perception of it is like, this could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to risk this and spend the money on something that could be average or good. Maybe I'll just wait for it to come onto TV randomly and I'll watch it then.
Exactly. I think also with this budget and, you know, getting James Gunn, they gave him free reign.
Yep.
So I think regardless of whether this does well, they're going to keep him and he's going to do other things. And I think it will eventually pay off. But again, we don't know the HBO Max numbers, so maybe it's got insane downloads or whatever.
Maybe it's HBO Max.
Maybe it is. But also, like with Black Widow, these things get pirated. It could very well see a massive drop-off. It's also an R-rated movie, so you can't have kids go to it or younger teens, which makes a big difference. What do you think the story was? Though?
Oh, no.
Yeah, gotcha.
Suicide Squad are back, baby.
Or are they? Is it the same universe? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
I think it is.
I think it's the same universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are enough telltale signs. And I watched this movie and I got it first time.
Did you?
Yeah.
I watched it twice and I never got it.
We are fortunate also in Melbourne that we saw an advanced screening on
That's
the
right.
Tuesday, and then Victoria was locked down on the Thursday, which is when it came out.
Yeah.
So I probably would not have seen it in the morning.
Yeah, that's right.
So we would have missed it, I think. So
But-
the story is they're back.
Yeah, they're back.
They got to do a Suicide Squad mission.
Yep.
Look out.
They got to go to a...
Crikey.
They got to go to like, it's sort of Cuba or whatever and do a
Corto
suicide.
Maltese.
Yes.
Is that a real place?
I don't think so, because then like you're killing real people.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Sure.
I don't know the specifics.
They blew up the Eiffel Tower in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra.
Good point. And that
you
movie
know,
stands the test of time.
That's right. Movie makers don't care whose toes they step on or whose monuments they blow up.
It's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, we're going to do non-spoilers then spoilers, because there's a lot of spoilers that you probably don't want to know that happen, throughout this film. It's not like there's one big thing.
That's true.
There's a bunch of things that happen that we can't talk about until spoilers. I thought this was terrific.
I had a lot of fun with this movie, and we mentioned before, like, James Gunn has clearly been given free reign, and you can tell, because for people who don't know, most people probably know him from the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but prior to that,
we know
the
true fans.
We're the true fans of Jack Gunn or whatever his name is. That he started with Troma, which is the kind of the famous like gory B movie company, and then he's went on after that to do gory B movies of his own, including Slither
and the man hits people with a wrench. Super
Wrench Hitter.
Yes. And I think this movie has a lot in common with those ones, those movies as well, because there is like a disgusting, dirty, kind of gross, guts and
it's
blood.
It's gorier than you would think. I saw a tweet from someone prior to the release of this movie who's like, "Oh yeah, Suicide Squad's coming out. It'll be nice to see something a bit like The Boys Light." And I didn't want to spoil anything, but I wanted to be like, it's not The Boys Light. It's probably The Boys and a bit more. If anything.
I guess it depends. On the episode of The Boys, all of which episodes I've seen and understood. What I do,
you see that episode of The Boys where they kill that whale? It's about that.
Yeah, it's probably about that.
It's about that.
Yeah, you're probably
the whole
right,
way through,
actually.
to be honest.
What I thought was really good about this, despite being over 2 hours, I thought it was paced really well. Like a lot of the times when I see movies, I feel like a common complaint is I come out and I'm like, there's about 15 minutes too much on this.
Your common complaint, because I've seen a lot of movies with you, is you come out and you're like, I didn't get this.
No, I understand literally every movie I've ever seen.
But that's not what you say.
I saw Donnie Darko, the director's cut, and I went, that makes less sense than the other cut, but actually, for me, it made more sense.
Whoa.
That's what I said to the poster of Donnie Darko in my room.
No, but that's because you saw it, and then I had to draw a diagram of the movie I instantly came out of that movie and I drew a diagram of the movie for you, and then you were like, oh, I kind of get it now.
I remember you showing me that diagram, but it was just a paper, like, smeared in shit. And I just went, oh, very good, I see what you've done here.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
Wow.
If anybody understands
and then you were
movies...
like, well, we've got to keep the secret, and then you crumble it up and you ate it. Which I think was too far. But it's okay, James, because what was on there was the true explanation of the movie Donnie Darko,
Director's
which is
cut.
what I said. But if it's what you said, then what you did then is you just ate you just ate a piece of paper with poo on it. So what is it, James? What is it? Huh?
Oh, this is a verbal chokehold. I don't
You got to tap out or what?
Tap out.
What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, this movie.
But no, I think I didn't feel a lull. I'd love to ask him personally, what is the process of editing and pacing? Because I feel like that's
We can never ask him anything personally because we burned our bridges that time.
We did when we got everyone to mass tweet him.
Yeah.
He was a good sport about it. But I feel like all of his films have this kind of flow and rhythm to them where they just don't drag. Is that just me?
No, you're right. And there's I think one of the things he does to sort of maintain that pace, and I think we mentioned it earlier, is that kind of like little occasional time shift he does.
Yep.
Where you get to sort of an action beat, and then there's a pause, and it's like, but what happened in another location 5 minutes ago? Look out.
Which also, like, normally I don't love. But I think also because the time shifts are so minute and the characters are so engaging when you jump back, it's interesting filling in that gap.
Yeah.
Whereas some movies will be like, remember this? And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, they put the bomb. They planted the bomb, did they? Okay, it's really good. I'm talking about maybe that Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie where they kept doing that.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Actually, Henry Cavill...
we solved this earlier on a yacht, like 3 days ago.
Yeah, Henry Cavill threw a briefcase into a speeding car. I don't know. I don't know what happened to that fucking movie.
Yeah.
But
speaking of characters,
yes,
I'm enjoying all of them.
Great lineup.
We had of the new team members.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of the new Ratcatcher, who has she needs a lot of sleep.
I like how
she cannot get up in the morning. I related very heavily.
I liked how she was just Ratcatcher too.
Yeah,
like they just were like, whatever. All these people are just like B-grade villains. She's just Ratcatcher too.
But I mean, that is that's super common in the comic book world. It's just like so many of the so many characters are just like, yeah, we killed that guy because we needed an easy death. I've never read a Ratcatcher 2 comic book. I don't know if she even is a but the last time I saw the original Ratcatcher, he was just like being blown to pieces by a robot just to raise the stakes of the this was Infinite Crisis. I think. And he was just being blown up by an OMAC robot.
Sure.
Just so they'd be like, we're serious about this. And then, of course, somebody goes, I would like to see Ratcatcher again. So they're like, there's another one.
There's a second Ratcatcher.
Bring him in.
I saw an interview with James Gunn where he talked about how he chose the characters and then and not only that, but like what kind of templates he wanted to use them for. So Harley Quinn is pretty much like straight up Harley Quinn from the TV series and the comics, I guess. So Bloodsport is like someone from the dark DC universe. And like Polka Dot Man is like someone from Watchmen, like a B-grade, somebody who like, so I just thought that was really interesting. So he basically went through and I'm like, I know I can see that because there are all these, they're very different and odd in their own ways, and putting them together makes for a fun dynamic. But
King Shark design-wise is very similar to the Harley Quinn animated series, but his personality is different.
I think they intentionally, they didn't want to, he talked about, I think on Twitter, he didn't want to make him the Hammerhead because it's hard to get it to emote with the eyes.
Oh, because the eyes are on opposite sides of his head.
And it might have been something to do with like people reacting to him on set, because Steve Agee was on set doing
motion capture,
King Shark, who's also in this movie as someone else.
John Economist.
John Economist, yeah. I wanted to ask you, though, so one of the big problems we both had with the previous movie is that Suicide Squad team were put together in case Superman went rogue.
Yes.
I feel like, though, this team could deal with that. Well, one of them literally had shot Superman and put him in hospital. But did you feel they had that covered?
They are more... Again, they're not... The vast majority of the team in the original one were just brawlers who were a good shot or whatever. But at least in this, in this team, we have Polka Dot Man who has...
acid dots or whatever.
Some sort of
another dimension or something.
They're like acid or lava polka dots or something like that. And even the team that probably wouldn't have worked in the previous movie. Like in this movie, Captain Boomerang has those. Seems to have some sort of energy boomerangs.
Yeah.
So he's like his tech has been upgraded.
Yeah.
We got Mongal. What can she do? Who knows?
We have to see the movie.
Yeah, you got to see the movie to find out.
To find out.
But I think they are a better team. King Shark. Tough as nails.
Like the Hulk, essentially.
Yeah.
He's really just like the Hulk, except he eats people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you as well about, because you told me an interesting thing about why Will Smith didn't return as Deadshot.
Well, see, there is one criticism of this movie that I would have. I don't think this is a spoiler necessarily, but Bloodsport's motivation is pretty much the same as...
He has the same backstory.
He has the same backstory as Dead. And there is a little joke about some characters being quite similar in this movie.
They're all supposed to be unique, but
a lot of them kind of aren't.
Yeah.
But so as I understand it, I think this was on Wikipedia, whether it's still there or not, who's to say. But the original plan was to get Idris Elba as Deadshot.
Yeah.
But then they were like, but what if Will Smith wants to return as Deadshot at some point in the future? So we'll make Idris Elba a different character, i.e. Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Should we what should his backstory be? And they just went, just keep it mostly the same.
There's a daughter and he can shoot really well.
Yeah, they're the same. But he's more interesting, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so in the comics, he's got like a pocket dimension weapons or something, isn't it?
Yeah, he can sort of summon weapons out of thin air, basically.
But this version's different, whereas the weapons are on his suit.
Yes.
So he's constantly like chipping away at like pulling different things off.
Yeah, he's got like various pouches, and they're all sort of modular, so he can like pull one element from one side of his body, and then he can attach a different thing and make it a bigger gun, and then a bigger gun and a bigger gun. Here's the thing. I think that's a great idea. I think that the visual effects on that are not great.
There's some Iron Man nanotech suit kind of clickety-clackety going on.
Yeah, it never really comes off as looking real. Like, you know, there are some moments where he's just, you know, he's standing and shooting or whatever. He's, you know, taking a weapon off his chest or something like that, and you don't really notice. But there are a couple of, like, kind of establishing hero shots where he builds a big gun, and they do not look good.
No, I don't even think they don't look good. I think the design-wise they don't. For what they turn into doesn't work from what they originally are.
Yeah, right, okay.
And you got to kind of have that transition between, which I don't.
I mean, it is fun though because he's got like
awesome,
you know, guns and piano wire and flamethrowers and crossbows,
like a yo-yo thing.
Yeah.
I liked that Amanda Waller in this also returning.
Yes,
Viola Davis. Just ruthless.
Yes,
just like awful and ruthless, and will do anything and say anything.
Yeah,
and I really liked that idea.
What I liked about this particular, one of the things I liked about this movie that I think was improved on from the previous movie is this. The Task Force X admin team, like they exist in this movie. Yeah. And also this whole system seems more like real. It seems more real to me because it's not as good. Like a lot of them, like they seem to be somewhat, like they all seem to be like career bureaucrats they're kind of good at stuff. Yeah. But they're also like, they're making mistakes and like at one point.
There's water cooler talk.
There's water coolers at one point, without giving away, so like something happens to one of the characters, and the admin team are just like, did no one check?
Yeah,
I thought this was your responsibility to make sure that
that particular thing didn't happen.
But it just got lost in the shuffle, and people, and I'm like, this feels more like as opposed to just this anonymous team of like, you know, everybody's got a hologram table and a whatever, and it's all the deep state and all this super high tech or whatever. Give me a little bit of incompetence goes a long way to make me go, this feels real.
I even liked they've got the panel that they unlock if they want to blow up anybody's head.
It wasn't an iPad.
No, exactly, and it's like little Samsung, and it's like a little Type X kind of like, because they're clearly just sticking the names on like every time.
It was way more of it just like you open a box and there's a physical switch and there's like a safety cover and then a switch and then a button. And it's like, that feels more like the more high tech the thing is, the more likely it's probably going to fail. Like, or go off.
Or you lean on it or whatever.
Well, it's exactly it. Like the thing about that you know, the Samsungs in the previous movie is you could just slip.
Yeah.
It'd be in your pocket and you reach for it and you could accidentally activate it and kill everybody on your team. But this you actually need.
Yeah, it's like the president and the nuclear codes or whatever. What I liked about this also, and this character I think gets better in every movie she's in. It's also weird that she's only done 3. It's Harley Quinn and Margot Robbie. I feel like she does have her own movie going on in this because she's separate for a lot of it. And there's also like, there's a joy and a silliness which is then kind of balanced by a competence when she wants to start murdering people. When she starts murdering people, and we see this a bit in Birds of Prey, there's no jokes and there's no like slapstick. It's just murder.
Yeah.
And as she's doing that, there's one scene, it's in the trailers, where like as she's cutting through people, she's imagining like flowers and birds and whatever. And I do wonder whether that's part of her insanity, where like that's what she sees when she's
Same.
Experiencing this. But I just thought that was just really interesting. What do you think of Peacemaker though? Or you can talk about Harley Quinn because, you know, even though I talked about it, you could also have an opinion.
No, I mean, I've seen some criticism that's like, Harley Quinn's barely in this. Yeah, but this is an ensemble.
I don't know. I feel like she's in it a lot.
I think she's in plenty, yeah.
And she also does a lot, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got like a whole, like not a lot of them have a side plot.
Yeah.
Because they're together, but she has like a big chunk of the movie, you know, to herself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Peacemaker. Well, he's getting a series.
See, I don't know whether
we'll talk about in spoilers. Yeah, I think.
I don't know whether that wouldn't be my choice necessarily. I think he worked for this though. I think John Cena, you know, is fun.
What I am enjoying a lot is John Cena is doing the press tour in the Peacemaker suit. Everybody else is in a beautiful dress or a beautiful suit or something like that, and he's just got the metal thing on his head and he's doing that.
Well, he's getting a show.
Yeah.
It's either a prequel or a sequel. We'll never tell.
We'll never tell. That's
You know what somebody I did really like in this was Rick Flag.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I didn't like him in the last one, but he's nice and he's like fun And I like him, and he's also got rapport with like some of the team members that he's worked with before. Like him and Harley kind of get along, and him and Bloodsport have worked together before. And when they see each other, they're not like, "Oh, I can't believe you left me," or whatever. But they're just like, "Hey, what's going on? All right, we're gonna do this thing."
Like
again.
even him and Savant are just like, "Hey, nice to see you.
Yeah.
We're gonna work together." Like it makes more sense that if you've got, if they have a choice between working with you or getting their heads blown off.
Yeah.
You want them to, and for a lot of them, it's like, fine, blow my head off, or I'm in jail forever. Like you'd want to be like, I'm kind of on your side,
Yeah, so. I thought he was cool. Like there's not a lot that's different than him and some of the characters. He treats them as equals. He's not worried they're gonna run off. He looks after them and protects them. And as if you've seen the trailers, there's like they mounted like a Harley Quinn rescue. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. I thought he was great. I thought it was really cool.
Where's June Moon though?
She's dead.
Oh no!
Yeah, or it's a different universe.
It's a different universe.
Well, do you want to save like the major villain for spoilers, even though it's in the trailers?
Yes. Good ensemble, I think.
There's a bunch of others which, there's like TDK and
Blackguard,
Javelin, Mongal, Weasel. But I guess we can.
It's interesting. James Gunn always sneaks his brother into some movies. He's got he's the motion capture for Weasel. I think he's also Calendar Man.
Calendar Man, yeah. Calendar Man's in this very briefly. Anyways, let's do spoilers.
Okay. I'm going to say best movie ever. I had a grand old time with
Best movie ever. For me, I think this might be my favorite DC movie. I think it's up there with like this and Wonder Woman and probably Shazam. First Wonder Woman, just to clarify. Which I think I think I was too light on Wonder Woman at the time. It's fine. But in hindsight...
Because subsequent movies have been worse.
Well, not only that, it's just pretty good.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. It's a very, and I wonder maybe that's because it's so, the first Wonder Woman is kind of so, what's the word?
I think the ending was kind of like, for me, and maybe that's why.
It's so earnest.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's nobody's quipping.
Nobody, except Chris Pine.
Yeah, he's quipping.
It's like, what do you mean you've never seen a dick before? Because, whatever, because it's man. I don't think those are
And they're in a fancy restaurant in London, and the mate of D is like, "Oh, sir, never. Oh."
Let's talk about Starro.
We're doing spoilers. Here we go.
Right. So James Gunn apparently was terrified of Starro as a kid, and that's why he put him in. But I think he does a really good job of making him gross and horrible and terrifying.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we'd made a video recently where we're just like, what a dumb character, and the only reason he makes the cut is like a popular Justice League villain is because he was like the first.
Yeah, right.
But I think there's like it's very upsetting.
Oh, very much
like
so,
the squids that come out from like under its arm and whatever. And it's just like
it comes out it's the giant Starro creature, and then it's got like little Starros that are like face size that sort of face hug people, and they sort of emerge in a spray like out of its glands.
Yeah,
it's very unpleasant.
And also, what's interesting is once you get one on you, that's it.
You're dead. Yeah.
Like at the end when they defeat Starro, we're in the spoilers.
Yeah,
they're all the people are dead.
Yeah, you would. Like, I imagine in like a lot of probably in the old Justice League, the first Justice League story where they meet Starro, probably at the end all the starfish creatures come off people's faces and they're like, "Gee, thanks, Superman, you saved us."
You see, there's one that they've pulled off a guy.
It just takes the most of his face off. Yeah, because they don't. It's not like they attach with a sucker or like some sort of magic gravity effect or whatever. They've got like tentacles and like sharp beak things and a suction pipe, and it's just it's unpleasant. It's
very unpleasant.
Wouldn't want to get one on your face.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know Starro's motivations. I guess that the thing about like what's interesting, I think, about this villain, I don't think Starro's necessarily great. Certainly gross and like a thing to shoot at the end, and that's kind of fun. But
wasn't a big beam.
It wasn't a big beam. That's very true. But it's sort of. What is the monster's motivation?
Just to take over the town or whatever. I think it's also,
but like just the
tortured.
town.
Yeah, I guess.
But it seemed to be odd because and then when Starro dies, it says, "I was happy being amongst the stars and just looking out at the thing." And it's like, well, why didn't you just leave? I mean, maybe revenge, I guess, but why are you destroying the people of the town?
Can it get into space even?
I don't know. Yeah. Great question.
I don't know. I mean, you'd be annoyed because the Thinker had been torturing it the entire time. Speaking of, Peter Capaldi has so the revelation is that the mission they went on, it's not only to destroy like the thing, which is Starro. Well, it's not even to destroy Starro. It's to destroy any information and evidence that points to the US being involved in the Starro experiments because they are funding the entire thing for their own research.
It was American astronauts that brought it to Earth.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, we can't experiment on it in America because then we'll be rumbled. So we'll do it somewhere else. Because there was a regime change in this country. We gotta destroy all the evidence because otherwise this might come out.
And after it's got out and seemingly all the evidence is destroyed, they're just like, fucking let it go. Like, let it tear through. And I thought that was another kind of interesting thing about Amanda Waller, where she's just like, this doesn't affect me or this country directly, so I don't care.
I mean, it would eventually, you would think.
Maybe, I don't know.
But then Superman would just punch it.
Superman could just fly through that thing. Yeah,
And he would too.
And he totally would.
Even if you're like, Superman, it's a friendly, he'd be like, can't take that chance.
I'm already in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm already in the eye.
And now I'm out of the eye.
Yeah.
It can be a mere moment.
There is a moment where Harley Quinn jumps into it with a javelin. And I thought she was going to like stick into it, but there's like a smooth
so smooth
through the eye, which I quite liked, and just the blood like sloshing around inside it because Ratcatcher's like sent all its rats into it. I thought that was a really like interesting visual of it. It's just screaming in this giant eye that's just like it's awful and
I saw
cool.
maybe a tweet or something, maybe part of a review that said something along the lines of the problem with this movie. I see how you feel about this. Is that it didn't let the bad guys just be bad guys because they all turned hero to some extent at the end.
Okay, that's not inaccurate.
It's not inaccurate, but
I think they killed most of the ones who.
That's the thing. Yeah,
John Cena is a bad guy in this.
I think my feeling would be that the point of most of these characters that they're not all inherently. Like, they're not like cackling villains. They're just like, a lot of them.
I'm an assassin or whatever.
Yeah, or like, for Ratcatcher, it's, her father died and then she just went to America. And sure, she robbed a bank, but like, who
cares?
Yeah, and it's like, maybe Bloodsport is an assassin, but he's not shooting random townsfolk. But he's not, like, he's morally compromised, but he's not a terrible person. And I think the idea was that,
But I also, I think like a lot of these people that are in there, they're not in there. They're in that prison specifically to be used for these purposes. If they were really dangerous and they couldn't be manipulated in this way or, be persuaded to do a seemingly good thing, they just wouldn't use them.
Yeah.
Really.
They wouldn't use the Joker, for example.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't use the Joker. But so let's talk about the opening scene, which is just a massacre of members, which is just from the one thing I guess I haven't mentioned yet. It's pretty funny. Like, it's a really funny film.
It is funny.
Yeah. There's I think like a lot of the humor comes from like Rick Flag as well. When they go through and they kill all those freedom fighters, and he's just like, "Look, I'm sorry, these guys are fucking idiots."
Yeah, Yeah, and what I enjoyed, I think, to the downfall of a lot of Marvel movies sometimes is that everybody's quippy all the time.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed the fact that
not everybody is.
Rick Flag's trying to take this seriously, and nobody lets him. I think that's fine. And Ratcatcher was kind of, she was. There were humorous moments with her, but she was like very sincere and very nice.
There's she gets a big payoff with the big rat plague at the end, and we get her story about her drug addict father and all these kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And, Peacemaker is playing it for the most part quite straight down. And, obviously he in wrestling terms, he turns heel. But he's mostly, taking it seriously. But you're right, that opening sequence is a massacre.
Yeah. They throw Weasel into the water. And even like before that, he's just like, he's harmless. Well, he's not harmless. He's killed 27 children. But, he's doing this. He's agreed to it. And it's like, has he even? Like, does this thing even communicate? Like, what, did you get him to sign something? Does he understand what's happening here? And then as soon as he's in the water, he obviously comes back in the post-credits, but it's just that level of incompetency of just like nobody looked into this at all. Yeah, but then it's just
and the same with Bloodsport has a rat
phobia.
And nobody checked because why would they?
Yeah, that's it. But that beach scene, so it's just like TDK, what I liked, that's the detachable kid, Nathan Fillion, his arms come off and he sends his arms in. But they only kind of go at the pace that he could walk.
Yes.
And because you can't, like, if you hit somebody with an arm, it's connected to your body and you can put the whole weight behind it.
Yeah.
But if it's just a floating arm, you can't get any kind of purchase on anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a completely useless power. I thought that was really interesting.
But obviously not useless to Amanda Waller because she's like good cannon fodder.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
He can technically be on the team because he's super powered.
Yeah.
But I would welcome people's input on this. Is he dead or not? I assume he's dead.
Because we did a video where we mentioned that he's dead because it's critically injured and nobody would have got him.
They would have just left him there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah. But also probably, I think they would have taken his photo off the self-destruct machine. So he probably is dead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah. Good supporting team, I think. But yeah, I think it was a good mix of like colorful characters. What I think, and I think we maybe did a video where we kind of figured out who was going to live and who was like, you could kind of tell from the scenes in the trailers who was going to live and who was going to die. But I think it was a good mix of like, you know, brawlers and people who maybe are aliens or gods or whatever and et cetera, and who's got super high-tech powers and who doesn't. You know, you would look at that lineup and go, I have no idea who's going to survive through this. Yeah. You would look at Mongal and go, probably going to get fine through this. I mean, she's, you know. Maybe invincible. We don't know.
Nah, not at all.
Definitely dead, though. Shredded and on fire.
Good scene.
Yeah.
Sad to see Captain Boomerang go, though.
He was your number one.
I'm a big fan. I kind of thought, like, they're bringing him back just to kill him. Yeah. I kind of had the inkling, but that's fine.
Because how many original team members?
It's Harley, Rick Flag, Amanda Waller, him. Yeah. There might be someone else.
Yeah, so a couple of those have got to go. And
Scott Eastwood.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I'm also glad that they weren't like, we need the regular army here or the Marines or whatever, absolutely, or the Black Ops team. We don't need them. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. That is the point. Yeah, but one thing I think I would say is Peacemaker is killed, or seemingly killed, and he's in the post credits, which means he's getting his series.
Yes,
I would prefer a Rick Flag show.
Too late. He's dead.
Yeah, they killed him.
Because here's the thing. He's a regular man and he got stabbed through the heart repeatedly with like a piece of wall tiling.
Yeah, so that is true.
He's never coming back.
But just the idea of him working with like a different supervillain every week.
Or he does come back.
Well, that's true also.
Do we see...
James Gunn doesn't really do that though.
No, but other people do.
Yeah, well that is true,
And he's not, you know, I'm going to get the dog.
Get the dog,
Mason.
insists
on coming in. Ollie, what are you doing?
I'll pad for time by talking about the Venom 2 trailer. So in the Venom 2 trailer, we see Carnage for the first time in live action. Carnage has appeared in multiple comics and even animated series.
All right, quit your yapping, James.
I was talking about the Venom 2 trailer.
Oh, yeah. We already talked about Venom 2. Ollie's here. Hello, Ollie.
But Peacemaker, though, whatever. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. But like I was saying, in this world, we see him, Rick Flag, die. Yeah. But we don't see him incinerated.
No, we don't.
So
exactly.
You could give him an artificial heart.
Yep.
You could open a vat in Task Force X headquarters and there's another Rick Flag clone ready to go.
That's true, yeah.
You know, who knows? You could the possibilities are endless, and if people are like, I'm sad to see him go, if enough people tweet about Rick Flag, once spoilers are done, wait a couple of weeks. So maybe they'll bring him back.
There's a couple of standout like performance scenes, which Robot Heart, which I just want to make mention of. So Harley, Kryptonite Heart. Harley ends up marrying the president of the country that she's in or planning to, and then he's like, I'm gonna throw all the women and children to the monster that we keep here or whatever, and so she shoots him, and she does this and it's a credit to Margot Robbie in the writing. This amazing speech about, look, I had to kill you because I've been with guys like you before. What's going to happen is even if I wanted to leave, you wouldn't let me, and it's just going to escalate, and it's going to become more and more. And she just goes through every step of like justifying this murder. And I just thought that was a really interesting scene and speaks to like the background of that character in the comics and animated show, and also these movies. Yes. I thought that was just like a really great moment. Yeah. That really like spoke to that character, which we definitely didn't get in the first Suicide Squad, where it was just like,
look at her butt. You see her butt?
All that, and her and the Joker sitting over a desk, like fucking smiling at each other, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I thought Peter Capaldi has the scene where he reveals what's going on with Starro, and he was just like, he just fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
Just like screaming about like what's going on here and how they're all like naive about, what the American government is up to, and I just thought he was just terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he's barely in it because he gets smushed.
Yeah.
But
we should watch some Peter Capaldi stuff.
I want to watch what's that political show that he does?
Oh, The Thick of It.
Yeah, and then there's the movie with James Gandolfini. Yeah. I mean, because I've seen there's just video of him on YouTube screaming.
It's true.
Yeah, good stuff. What else have I got here?
R.I.P. Milton.
Milton, yeah. Enjoyed that character.
It's actually...
It's indicative.
It is indicative, but I think it's actually quite interesting in that he is in so many scenes, but like he is relegated enough to the background that you do forget he's there from second to second.
Yeah.
So when he is finally killed and many of the characters go, who, what guy?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you would forget because he's slightly to the side in most scenes. He's like handing a bag of like enchiladas to people or whatever.
Yeah.
He's carrying a bag or carrying a gun.
Yeah. Maybe planting explosives, although I forgot to give him any. I just quickly wanted to mention on the Peacemaker scene and the TV show. I thought when he kills Rick Flag and when he's going to kill Ratcatcher, you see there is like regret there.
Yeah.
And even though he's just like, this is just who I am and what I'm going to do, I wonder how heavily that's going to play into the show where he's not going to be as black and white. Like that will be the evolution of the character because he's killing people he doesn't want to defend a government which has locked him up to hide the fact that they've been using this horrible monster.
Yeah.
You know,
but they're like patriotism though.
Yeah.
And he has to be like, okay, I guess, yeah.
I thought that was, an interesting angle.
Before going into this movie, I would have assumed that the Peacemaker TV series was going to be like dumb and wacky.
Yeah.
And maybe it still will be in some level.
He's mentioned it's more grounded than this, like a little bit more. But again, I'd like to see a rolling cast of just supervillains they can just kill. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Anyways, we might not get another one. I don't know. Depends.
Knows, yeah.
It's just hasn't done super well or not at this point. But yeah, I'd definitely watch another one.
Yeah.
And it probably would have done better outside of a pandemic or if they didn't already make a movie called Suicide Squad.
Okay, but how about this, James?
Okay,
how
I'm
about
ready.
Just another Batman movie.
Yeah, well, you know
just
what?
Another one. We'll do the Batman and then we'll just do another
Have they got anything in the works at the moment? I just realized the Flash movie is a Batman movie and they're making a separate Batman movie and there's also a Gotham TV show happening at the moment as well that's happening. And maybe he's in Batgirl at the moment. Or he's out of town.
He's always out of town.
He's often out of town.
He's going to be in Titans Season 3 though, I think.
Who's going to play him?
It's Ian Glenn, but he was in Season 2 as well.
Oh, yeah, Ian Glenn. Okay, there you go. Good stuff. Got some tweets here from people who have their own opinions, if you don't mind, Mason.
Oh, well.
Greg Carter.
See what the riffraff are talking about.
Greg Carter says, had a blast with Suicide Squad. He didn't say the Suicide Squad.
And he didn't say a blast from the past either.
No, that's true. On the edge of my seat the whole time, never knowing who James Gunn was going to kill. Lots of laughs, lots of feels. Gooner424 says, Suicide Squad, better than the first one, though half an hour too long, worth a free release on HBO. Technically, it's not free because you're actually paying for HBO services or whatever.
James.
Script John says, I read that Star of the Conqueror sent his cast members used condoms in order to get in character for his role in the Suicide Squad.
That's pretty good.
I hadn't heard that, but that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Should we do the next segment of the show?
Yes.
What's it called, though?
It's called What We Reading.
What else is it called?
What We Gonna Read.
It's called Those Two Things. It's
right.
called The One Thing. It's the one title, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Here we go. Let's get into it, everybody.
Okay.